Welcome to our F1 2025 livery ratings. I'm Sahwgunn and I'm joined once again by Captain Ajax.
Hello.
Let's go! Another video for
Wow.
2025. This time we're both actually heard this time. Sorry about the last video. It wasn't my best moment, but hopefully it's fixed. We should be all heard properly. Just sorry for my mic being a little bit off today. Anyways, let's get straight to the livery ratings because I'm very excited for this one as well. And yeah, okay. We're gonna go with this one from in an order from the constructors from last year's, I would say, and from bottom to top. So we're gonna begin with Sauber and end with McLaren. All right.
Okay. Yeah, let's go.
All right. Let's move on to the Sauber first. And yeah, okay. I'll start. Okay. This car in the renders was looking pretty alright. I actually thought it was an improvement over last year. So unfortunately, when we saw it in track, I don't know what they did to the green, but it looks awful on the track. I don't know what to say. Just it looks awful. It's really not visually pleasing. Just from front perspective, it's like okay, but from sideways, it's just awful. I really hope they get rid of the green completely. Come 2026 when Audi takes over. I hope this is just a weird gambling sponsor face that I really dislike. My favorite drivers in there. I should probably be more optimistic about this team. I'm just not. I'm just trying to. I'm just gonna enjoy the rest of the year and not really think about my driver suffering in this team. All right. I would say I would give it like 2 out of 10. It's really bad. It's really bad. I don't think it deserves any more than 2.
No, fair enough. I do think it looks bad. Obviously, anything to do with kick, I'm not going to like. And it is the kick car. But I think all in all, it's at least it stands out. It is very green and just such a weird green. Like it feels like it could work, but it just doesn't at the moment, and that's quite disappointing. I do think I'm going to be a bit higher than you. I think I'm going to give it like a 4 probably because I like. Oh no, it's a 3. It's a 3 because overall, like it doesn't work. Truly, it's an interesting design, but I think they'll be at the back of the grid. We won't see it for most of the season.
True. Yep. Not much to say at this point. I think it's just a car we're gonna see for another year, and then hopefully, and never again. At least voluntarily. Yeah, in the renders it looks alright. They used a different green on this one, and for some reason, they just almost removed all the fade that there was. It was looking fine in the renders. I would, based on the renders, I would probably give it like a 5 or 6, but this on track monstrosity is just awful. All right, a combined rating of 2.5. So far, the highest and the lowest as well. Let's move on to the Williams, and I think this one actually. I was not optimistic about Williams when it showed on the F1 75 event. I was like, yeah, this is worse than last year. But now that I saw the track, it's a little bit better, but I still really, really hate the gradient that they've used. Not that it's a bad idea, but they reversed it. They should have went from bright in the front and darker blue in the back. It's just, this reversed version is just the most used perspective when you watch F1 on TV. The most viewed side of the car is the front, and it needs to be bright. It needs to be colorful. You need to know which team you're looking at. And when you look at the Williams, it's the dark blue that in some angles looks more of like a black. It's just not standing out. From the side perspective, it's a pretty good livery. Like you cannot really go bad with a blue car. but yeah, the front view is just not great. And honestly, I give it like a 5. Okay, actually, I give it a 6 because it looks really good sideways, but that's about it.
I don't know. I feel on track it looks good to me. I admit in when you put your 6 in mine, by the way. I admit
Oh,
when
my bad.
it's alright. When it was revealed, I was like, what are they doing here? But I do think now that I've seen it on track, I at least like it a bit more, and I think they are going in a positive direction. The Duracell battery is just a huge win for me. I love that.
Yeah.
I think I love that more than the Google Chrome wheels on the McLaren. But I do like how teams are actually bringing those in to the sport. I'm going to give it a 7, a 7 for me. Just a number better than you, yet again, because I do think, yeah, I like it. I like it. I think it's quite nice, quite shiny, and very Williams, very very Williams.
Yep. Yeah, definitely above average.
Yeah,
Just like you, I think the Duracell battery thingy on the top of the car is just perfect spot for the sponsor. It's probably the best sponsor placement in all of the 2025 grid. Honestly, yeah, they got another sponsor, Atlassian. Not really sure what that company does, but they're a title sponsor now. So they have brought some kind of different blue to the car. So now there's gradient, but I guess we'll see it in Australia because it's also a different part of the world, and maybe different lighting will improve my rating a little bit. But still, I feel like yeah, above average, just like you. All right, 6.5 average rating. Let's move on to which is Racing Bulls.
the biggest change.
Wow, yeah, this is the biggest change from last year's. Obviously, last year we had the Toro Rosso look-alike, but it wasn't really Toro Rosso. It was more of a yeah, it didn't have a team name. It's as well. It's just random letters put together. Now it's actually Racing Bulls that we used that name for the team alongside Toro Rosso for pretty much all of last year, and it's not going to change for this one, except that we're not going to use Toro Rosso anymore because Racing Bulls is actually a team name that we can use. We don't have to say it the full day like Visa Cash App Racing Bulls because that's a little bit of nonsense. But what is not nonsense is that the car's livery is absolutely fantastic. Like it looked very good on the renders, but on track it looks even better. Like it may be one of the best liveries that we've seen in a while. Honestly, like a wide Red Bull, I really like it.
Yeah, I really like it as well. I just like the fact they've actually done something different, right? It's you used to have that a lot more. I feel like the cars would change a bit more and so on. And to see such a big change, and they always bring this out with Toro Rosso. They always or Racing Bulls, whatever you want to call it. They always brought out like actually nice liveries that were different every year. To see this change is a really nice one.
There's one little thing that I would remove is the Cash App Green, but unfortunately, you can't really remove a sponsor. It's just its placement like little off. Like the green doesn't really gel well with the rest of the car's coloring. Obviously, the main colors are white, blue, and red. I would say with the Red Bull. Obviously, there's some yellow parts that are also part of the Red Bull logo, but that's it's just iconic. Like it's the Red Bull basically in white that we're having this year, and yeah, I really like it. It's just not much to say. It looks visually appeasing. Pleasing. What's the appealing? That's the word. Sorry. My brain's a little bit off. Anyways, I'll give it a rating of 8.5. Not quite a 9. It's very good, very good. I like it. Oh, sorry, it's also yours. I'm used to being on the left. My bad. 8.5, my highest rating so far, and Yeah, the next liveries aren't gonna improve that reading a little bit.
For me, yeah, I don't think it's perfect. I definitely think there's been better liveries in the history of F1, but I think it's an improvement. I'm going to have to give it a high rating, so I'm going to go for a 4 on 9.
Nice. Compile rating of 8.75, the highest one so far by quite a bit as well. Okay, next up we have the Haas F1 team, and honestly, this car, I don't know what it is, but this is my favorite Haas probably ever. Like in terms of livery, honestly, it's just an improvement of last year's livery, which I also really liked. It's very Haas, very specific. I don't want to say iconic, but it just really reflects that coloring of Haas, like red, white, and black. Because yeah, a lot of teams use black and carbon on their cars, but Haas literally has the black color in their color palette, and that means that you can use it and actually like use their brand in it, and it looks really good. They've pretty much just almost switched some places, like the black and white. They're switched in some places, but this one looks a bit more bright, a little more colorful, and very visually appealing as well. I'm just really happy to see it on the grid. Has F1 team. They will still be one of my like teams that I root for, even though my driver is not there anymore. I really like the driver pairing, and hopefully will do well, at least as well as they did last year, with improved livery. I will give it a 7.5 out of 10. It's not quite an 8, but it's very good. It's very definitely above average. Very good looking car.
Yeah, I see your point. I see your point. I think for me, I'm not going to give it overly high. Like it's a good car, and I think their color scheme's good. Sometimes I do wish they'd do more with it, especially with the red, I guess. But I guess they don't want to push too much on Ferrari. So I don't think I'll go as high, but I do think it is still a good car. It's still a good livery. I feel I'm gonna give it a 6. I don't really have much to say about this one though. All in all.
Okay, average rating of 6.75. So the second highest so far. Good. We're ready. Next is Alpine, and okay, finally some color on the Alpine. Unlike last year, we had a specific livery that had some parts pink and some parts blue. This one is just straight up colorful. It's bright. It stands out with the pink, but I still don't really like the combination of white of pink and blue. That's exactly what I said. Basically, ever since they got the BWT sponsorship, I'm just not very keen on this color palette. But it's unique. It stands out. Good for them. I would prefer to look at other cars other than Alpine. Basically, from front, it looks probably probably the best view is from the front. Yeah, sideways is just that the pink and blue just don't get on with each other well. Even though they're separated pretty much everywhere, but at least black or white just doesn't work for me. I'm gonna give it a 5. Sorry, this is yours again. Oh damn. Okay, 5. A little bit of Wilwood and Williams, and yeah.
Yeah, I think the same. I just these two colors that they have to go with, the Alpine color and the pink. I just wish they'd go in one direction with them. I feel like you can have. It's the fact they seem to half and half the car every time, rather than going full Alpine with a little bit of pink here and there, or pink with a little bit of the Alpine blue here and there. That's what's disappointing me about this car. Every time they just seem to mix them in a way that just looks ugly, if I'm honest. I don't think it works very well. So I have to take that into account hugely because, I just don't. It doesn't work for me. It really doesn't. So I'm going to go for a 4, which is pretty low, but maybe there will be one that's lower.
Okay, average rating of 4.5, the second lowest so far. Okay, before we move on to the top 5 teams, when you look at the Alpine livery, imagine the pink. Imagine the pink. Oh my god, brains, please. Imagine yellow instead of the pink. Like the exact same car, but there's just the bright Renault yellow instead of the pink.
Well, it'll be yellow instead of the blue, sadly.
Yeah, I don't want to mention like the sponsorship itself. Just imagine don't have to care about the BWT. Just imagine the pink bits being yellow instead.
Yeah, yes, exactly.
That would look so good. Like, oh,
I think even with the pink, it could look good. They just don't do enough with it. I like the color pink. I like the color blue. The fact, these are two quintessential. Like, since we're children, we're giving pink and blue. Girls pink, boys blue. Like, you can mix those two together and it look good. I just don't understand how they keep messing it up.
Yep. Post sponsorship messed it up. They. I mean, I would have loved to see the Alpine not go with the BWT sponsorship in itself, but at that point, it probably needed the money. They lost. I think that's 2023, or maybe at the end of 2022. Not quite sure, but I think it's 2023 when they went with Alpine sponsorship. It's basically when they lost both Piastri and Alonso. They probably weren't very wealthy at that point. That they probably needed the money, and BWT was probably the best offer that they could get. And unfortunately, the great livery that was 2021 Alpine 2 years later was just pretty much a pink car, and now it's a hybrid. It's between Alpine and the Racing Point.
I like the pink car, and that's the issue. I liked when it was like almost full pink, but now it's an Alpine. It's like
remember the car that they've used for the first 2 races of last year, the fully pink car.
Exactly.
Bahrain and Saudi Arabia, the fully pink car, that was great. This one is just not that great. We agree. We both agree on it. It's just not that great. It's below average. Actually, I'll actually lower it to 4. Now that I think about it, it's definitely not anywhere near Williams. Okay. Next up is the Aston Martin, and this is another example. You have one color with a little bit like little neon bits. Like those are just Aston thing, but you have one main color that should be on most of the car. You cannot really go wrong with it, but Aston Martin just managed to do it. It's not a bad car. It's not a bad car by any means, but a bad looking car. But they could have used more green. Not gonna lie. It's nice, but it's too dark. It's too black carbon. I don't know. It's just. I prefer the previous Astons, honestly. Just
yeah, I get that.
Yeah, I don't know if there's much to say. I'm probably in the minority that really doesn't dislike the rear wing, the Aramco, the green to blue fade. I don't really dislike it. It's almost like. It's Aston Martin, so it has to have that thing. But it doesn't look bad with the Aston Green. The front wing, it's entire black with the Aramco sponsor. The front wing is one of the parts of the car that are the most visible at most time. That if you look at the car, it has to be bright. It has to basically be in the vision. The one thing that you focus on, it's not. It's started black with a white thing. You just don't look at the front wing when you look at the Aston Martin, and it's a pretty useless spot for the sponsor in itself as well. So yeah, I'm gonna give it a 5.5. I had to go Willow Williams. Honestly, it it's worse than Williams.
Yeah,
It's
fair enough.
one is a green car, one is a blue car, but the blue car is actually a little bit better. So I gotta go with a 5.5.
For me, I think the car was peak when it was just like the Aston Martin green, the racing green, and I think every year they seem to shave a little bit more off of it, which is disappointing because I like the Aston Martin green. I want to see that Aston Martin, it's racing green. I want to see it more. Other than that, I don't really have it. Yeah, it's just a bit like, okay, you just keep taking it away, keep making it a bit more black because you need that carbon because you increasingly get slower. So I'm gonna head for a big old. I think it's about the same as the Haas. So I hit it with a 6.
Also, I thought they would go with a 5, but yeah, 5 to 6 is the average range. It's difficult to go wrong with the green. It's just like you said, the previous Astons were just better.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a shame because that livery has a lot of potential. Like we saw, Aston was ever since they removed the pink from the BWT. They had gorgeous cars. They were very pleasant to look at. Just they now have not don't have that much green on it. Like, it's still a very green car, but has a lot of black. Just doesn't work. Anyway, okay. Average rating of 5.75. That's the third lowest so far. Moving on, Mercedes. Okay. This is a place where we probably differ a little bit because you really like Mercedes. It was your favorite team, probably still is. I assume.
That's untrue. Actually, McLaren's always been my favorite team.
All right. My bad. I just
like British drivers.
you like the British duo that was there. I see. Okay, Mercedes. Their color palette has a lot of potential as well. The silver, the Petronas blue, their iconic stripe over for the car. Yeah, they had some bangers in their time ever since they come back to Formula One. When 2022 came around, they had that. Well, obviously, we also had the COVID era 2020 car, which went full black, with the blue stripe of Petronas. It was looking all right. It was looking like at the time we didn't have many black cars. It was all like colorful for if you're on the entire grid, so it was fine. I really liked it at the time. 2021 less so, especially with the white at the back. Come 2022, they went back to silver. It doesn't really click for me. I don't know. I just preferred it when it was black before. But 2023 came around. It was black again. I actually really liked that car, but that was the time when a lot of teams started going with a lot of carbon fiber on their car. It ruined the Mercedes livery, and they had to bring the silver back for 2024. Still not a lot of silver. It was all right, but this year, it was a long intro to this car, but this is my favorite Mercedes since 2019. I gotta say, I really like how it looks from every single angle, and it just looks very good. They removed the red with the Ineos red that it was. I hated that, honestly. The red doesn't belong in a Mercedes F1 car. It's just this one. I really like the fade that they went with the silver. It's just from the front. It looks very good. It's silver with the black bits, the Petronas stripes. Oh my God, Russell's helmet also fits that Mercedes car as well. And yeah, I wish they would have done. They would have given it a little bit more silver, like just a little bit. I get it that they have to have the silver stripe at the end, probably. the reason behind still half the car being black, but I really like it. It's just that if they would have not have this weird weight limit that everyone's trying to save weight, basically, and give their cars the least amount of weight with the paint. I really wish they would have. I don't know. Put the colors back on the car. Well, most of the cars, so Mercedes can actually stand out again with being silver black. I probably lost my point, but all in all, I think it's the best livery of this year. It's my favorite Mercedes 2019. That's probably my favorite Mercedes of all time, and this one comes very close, but not quite. It's better looking than Racing Bulls, in my opinion. Just because I really like how it looks. I don't know, it's something in the car that just I never really like thought of Mercedes as the car that I really like to look at. But this one, whenever I see it's on track, I really like to look at the car. I don't know what it is. Sorry for being for yapping too much. I'm just yeah. Okay, your turn, sir.
All right, but I'm about to disagree with you. I don't think the Mercedes looks that good. I don't like how they're still stuck between the two generations of cars. Basically, I think the Silver Arrows looks amazing. I think the time they had it as the black car looks amazing, but they seem to be going through a generation where they can't make up their mind whether or not it should be black or silver because they just can't. Yeah, they keep mixing the two. And it's the Silver Arrows. I really do think it should be like that silver color. I think that silver color looks amazing. And then, yeah, they've made it black. A portion of it black. Evidently, is probably a weight-saving exercise as well. But then they have their top funnel as silver again, which just does the air intake is silver again, which just doesn't work alongside it. It's pretty interesting. Yeah, that's my opinion. And it just doesn't work for me as well as it works for you. Evidently, it isn't bad in any sense of the word. But I wouldn't say for me it's necessarily good either. So I'm going to give it a 6.
Okay, 7.5 average rating, the second high so far, behind the really beautiful Racing Bulls livery. Now that I think about it, the 2022. Wait, which one was it? The last silver Mercedes, like fully silver that we had, 2022, yeah. Right? Was it 2022 or 2023? Yeah. I think it's 2022. Basically, the one that had the zero pods, if you remember. I think that was 2022. So that car, like I said, at the time I didn't like it, but maybe it's because the car itself looked ugly. Like the zero pod really didn't look nice on the car, and maybe if they would have had for example, at the time, which if Red Bull looked pretty good aesthetically, like in the shape, but Mercedes didn't really look good. So any livery at that Mercedes at the time probably would look bad to me. So I have to rethink the silver 2022 livery because I really like the silver on the Mercedes. But this one is an improvement over just for some reason I really like. The way they've done it.
I respect your opinion.
you don't like the air intake. I think it's looking great. So I guess we'll differ here. But I respect their opinion, honestly. Everyone has their things which they like, and I really like the Mercedes this year. All right. Next up, I can switch over to Red Bull, and Yeah, this is Red Bull. We've seen it for a couple of years in a row. It's the same car pretty much, just with different sponsors here and there. They have a different crypto sponsor on the back, on the rear wing. So there's that. And yeah, it's pretty much the same car we saw last year. It's also looking very similar in terms of shape. There's not many changes, but Red Bull itself looks good. It's not a bad livery. It's starting to get very iconic with the way they have the similar. They have the same livery pretty much every year, and in like a 15 years time, you'll look back on this era of Red Bull, and yeah, it's in the conversation with the Marlboro McLarens in the 80s and so on. Just iconic livery in terms of history of Formula One. In terms of like pure aesthetics, it's above average. I would say it's around Haas level. Probably I give it a 7. It's a good looking car. I prefer the Racing Bulls white, honestly.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I really do. I think it's an interesting one. I don't know what to say. It's just the Red Bull. It's always just the Red Bull. It's pretty good. Like they don't do much different, but they don't need to. So like, I don't give it a 7. I might be a hater of Red Bull as a whole, but yeah, I agree with a 7. I really can't say much about this because it's always the same. It's always the same car, which is pretty impressive that they somehow managed to make it always the same despite different designs.
Yeah, you can't really go bad with if you keep the same livery. Like it's not getting old at this time because it's there every year. It's not like a few years in a row, but this is literally the same livery we've had for like last 10 years. Yeah.
Yeah, they do not break formula. I do like when they have those, like, whenever they pull out a special livery, like before testing, when they're trying to hide their car. That's always quite nice. But
yeah, they've used some great liveries in testings in the past, but not quite nowadays. Mostly use the same livery for everything. So yeah, a shame, but still, like you can't go bad with a Red Bull livery. It's the third highest rated livery in our list so far, with a 7 average rating. All right, moving on to the elephant in the room, the Ferrari. And honestly, didn't like I didn't like it in the renders. I didn't like it in the F1 75 event. I don't like it here. The HP sponsorship last year was a downgrade for me. Like, but still the car looked good. This one just doesn't. It's a Ferrari that it looks like a Ferrari, but it looks like a bad Ferrari. That's the problem. Like Ferrari is always meant to be the best looking car in the grid. The red with some bits that make it look like the Formula One car. Like it's Formula One is meant to be Ferrari, but this year it doesn't feel like it's just HP and another HP logo and the awful rear wing, the blue rear wing. Oh my god! How has Ferrari allowed that IBM sponsorship on the back of the rear wing? It's awful. Ferrari is not supposed to be blue. They have so many alternatives. Like HP does, there's so many alternatives to their logo. They can use the black and white one and so on, but they choose not to because they want to stand out on a Ferrari, and then by doing so, they actually ruin it. And it's such a shame because imagine the blue on the car being like black or even white at the at spaces. Like in itself, the white stripe at the back of the car doesn't work. It's too thick, too long, and the HP logo doesn't do it any favors. So yeah, it's very big disappointment, but it's not at the level of 2021 Ferrari with the green at the back. That was that looked like straight up ugly. This one is just bad looking, I would say. Very disappointed with the Ferrari, but I would say the Sauber is probably still less pleasing to look at. I would give it a 3. Still, it's a red car with white bits, just very bad on it as well. A lot of bad. Just I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed because Ferrari is meant to look good, and I was sure to be hyped about Ferrari for this year. This livery doesn't really make me that hyped, honestly. Even with Lewis F. Hamilton behind the wheel, I don't feel well about Ferrari. Just the livery kind of killed all the hype they had. I don't know. Do you have any different opinions?
Yeah. I think I agree. I think it's a sort of point on um, design regressing versus design sort of staying the same. Whereas the Sauber's not really ever, well, not been good in the last few years. It's a Ferrari, right? It's meant to look like the best car on the grid. It always does, right? And the fact this one doesn't is disappointing. Whereas the others, I expect, with Red Bull, they can always stay the same. With Aston Martin, it's getting slightly worse every year. But this is just such a big downgrade on that car because it just suddenly doesn't look like the best car on the grid. Such a big downgrade compared to any other team that it's extra disappointing. Whereas a lot of the other teams, stayed around the same level. So with that being said, I am going to go with a 3 as well. Just because, I just can't get on board with it. It's not the car that I want to see.
I get you. I get you.
Yeah, I want to see. Especially again when they have probably one of the best driver lineups you could ever have at this point, going into the season, and hopefully a quick car. They look pretty snazzy in testing, if not a bit slower than the McLaren. So yeah, I'm disappointed by the design of the livery.
Are you good keeping that 3 with both Sauber and Ferrari?
Yeah, I'm happy with 3 for both.
Like Sauber is straight up awful.
Well, it's because for me, right, Sauber is bad, but it hasn't regressed loads. Whereas the Ferrari is meant to look like the best team on the grid and has regressed to looking like the worst. Or one of the worst. So for me, it's maybe that extra disappointment leading to those few extra points being taken off. But that's my opinion, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I guess with my 2 for Sauber, it's the second lowest rated car on the grid because of livery. Not a great year for Ferrari. Don't know what to think for 20.6 onwards because I don't think the HP sponsorship is going anywhere. And as long as they use the blue, it's never gonna look good, no matter what you try with it. Because it's a Ferrari, it's not meant to be blue, it's not meant to be green. Yellow is alright because that's part of their of their branding, like yellow bits on the Ferrari. I know you don't like it when there's a yellow on the Ferrari, but I think it makes sense.
Okay. I like yellow and white on the Ferrari, and like the shell sponsorship looks fine. It is just it's the blue. It's definitely the blue.
Yeah.
And that big bloody logo at the back of their car. Not just the rear wing, but the big one on the back. That really takes me off.
Yeah. Now that I think about it, if all the red on the car was blue instead, it would be pretty good looking livery, even with the white stripe.
Yeah.
But since it's red, it doesn't work. It just doesn't. It's awful. I'm so disappointed in Ferrari. Okay, let's move on to a more positive car, or instead of looks, McLaren. They pretty much copy pasted the last year's car, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Just like Red Bull, it's a good looking car, orange, black. Maybe it could have been a little bit more orange, but at this point, it's something that can only be worsened probably if they really try. Because McLaren has had some really bad looking cars in the past, at least in my opinion. And this one is one of the better looking ones. I really like the color orange in itself. It's now very iconic for McLaren. They've won a championship with it, and they. I also gotta say, the chrome, the chrome wheel covers also look pretty good. They've used it for a couple seasons now, but it's something that you will look back on, and yeah, it's the orange McLaren, very quick one with the chrome wheel covers. It's a very clever sponsorship, just like the Duracell battery. But yeah, it's the one thing that you can have a good looking sponsor on the car. Not like Ferrari, what they've done is a disgrace, but this one is looking very good. And even the front wing, they had it orange last year. They switched that with MasterCard sponsorship, I think that is, with the red and orange. It looks almost a little bit better for me, maybe. Don't quite know why, but I prefer it over last year's for some reason. I don't know if something's wrong with me. I've seen some really bad liveries this year, so probably because of that. Maybe, I don't know. I really like the McLaren. It's already iconic. It's won a championship, and it's looking like it could follow on that this year as well, because in testing it looks rapid as well. So yeah, McLaren, I'm gonna give it, I would say I prefer it over the Red Bull, so 8 out of 10 for me from McLaren.
Fair enough. Wow. Okay. What I will say is I love how gamery it is. Right. I think that's a big thing for me. It is gamer related.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that. I don't know. I don't think I can rate it. Maybe I do. I think I do agree with you. I do think it's probably an 8. I was thinking of a 7. But I think this is a good design. I hope they do maybe change it a bit more over aspects in the next few years. And I do like that they are now the orange team. I think it's better than back when they were. I used to be like sad that they went off the like white and red, and like the silver, white and red I thought was quite a good design. Obviously that's a bit of nostalgia for me as a kid, but I do think nowadays, the orange, they've gone for it, and I think just everything about this car just links up very well. So yeah, got to give it an 8 as well.
Okay, that makes up for an 8 of average rating. Second best looking car according to our ratings. So I say this is all just been for fun. We're no experts, and I'm sure a lot of people disagree with our opinions, but I mean, aesthetics is the most subjective thing of all, and what looks good to someone doesn't have to look good to others, like we've realized in this video as well. All right, I think that's it for this video. We've seen the cars on track now. It looking like a very interesting season. I don't think we should cover testing in itself because it's very misleading in terms of times, and just generally we don't have much to talk about except the cars on track some looking bad, some looking good. Pretty much went over the aesthetics here, and yeah, personally very excited for Australia. It's looking like a very good season, and can't wait.
Yeah, me too. Very excited.
Okay, and yeah, that's it for this video. Thanks everyone who's been watching and listening to us. It's been a fun ride to rate the livery ratings this year, and yeah, so next time, next week actually, for after testing predictions probably, maybe next week or the week after, we'll see. All right, thanks everyone, and peace.
Peace.